Steve and Audra. Just over a year ago, we sold our home and started living on the road full-time after traveling part-time since 2020 in our self-converted Ford Transit camper van. We work and travel, looking for beauty in nature and interesting things while trying to keep our spending at a minimum. And we travel with our well-loved cat, Lady Gray Gray Gillespie Pinkerton. After spending a little bit of time in Canada, we're back in the States enjoying and exploring the charming town of Canandaigua.
Good morning, you guys. We stayed here at the park that we shared with you last night. It was on iOverlander, but there hadn't been any recent posts and none in the middle of the summer, which is peak season probably here at the lake. So we weren't 100% confident about staying here overnight, but we woke up this morning, no knock over the night, so it's pretty great. And this is the view back here that we have. It's pretty spectacular. Nothing quite like waking up on the lake. Now you've got those Vanlifers who have the fancy schmancy espresso machines, but we in this van have instant coffee. That's what it's all about.
You insinuating that this isn't fancy and or schmancy?
Girl.
So we had a very nice night at the boat launch on Lake Canandaigua. And this morning we went for a nice little walk, and it's pretty ironic how often we get surrounded by machinery. There was a lawnmower going this morning, and if not that, it's someone running their car.
Yeah, that's kind of like a running joke. We know how to find the running cars and the lawnmowers, and there was even a roller. What's that?
They were
heavy machinery.
They were working on the walkway this morning, putting down more gravel, and they had a steamroller out, of all things.
So that's pretty funny. But it was a nice spot. I'm glad we checked that out. And I did a little more research on the boathouses. If we had just actually read the plaque that we got video of last night, we probably would have had our answers. But I did some research online, and the pier has been there since, I think, 1848 or 9 or something like that, mid-1800s. And then boathouses started being built along the way, and there was other development with railroad, things like that. And then around 1903, they actually added on to the pier. They built those little, I guess what they call pier fingers, and they moved some boathouses to that spot or built new ones. Some of the old ones were demolished. So basically from the early 1900s, there have been boathouses there. I was a little disappointed to find out that people do not live there, even though there's some space that they could. The boathouses are part of an association, and you can actually be fined if you spend the night there, which is kind of a bummer because it's a little magical spot. There were people hanging out there enjoying it, but it's just like a day thing. You take your boat out and keep it there, but it was still, I don't know, to me it was really fascinating. I loved seeing how they decorated the different houses and just seeing that spot, because that's pretty unique. That was pretty cool. We're going to keep moving on now. We're actually going to go check out Sonnenberg Gardens and Mansion. It's a historical place that we can get into for free with my RAP membership through the American Horticultural Society. So we're going to go check that out.
Nestled in the picturesque Finger Lakes region of New York and Ontario County, Sonnenberg Gardens is a New York State historic park offering one of the few remaining estates with a Queen Anne Victorian-style mansion and formal gardens in America. It's one of the most treasured landmarks of the region, with approximately 35,000 visitors each year from all over the world. This 50-acre estate is one of just 2 public gardens in the New York State Park system. Sonnenberg is known for its distinctive period architecture and formal gardens. Sonnenberg is the former summer home and creation of Frederick Ferris and Mary Clark Thompson. He was a New York City banker, and she was the daughter of a New York State governor. As newlyweds in 1863, the Thompsons purchased the 300-acre farmstead named Sonnenberg, which means Sunny Hill, for their summer estate. By 1887, they replaced the previous farmstead residence with the current Sonnenberg mansion. Today, the property features the mansion, conservatory, and 9 formal gardens that have been restored over the years. The greenhouse complex at Sonnenberg, built between 1903 and 1915, is one of the few remaining intact Lord and Burnham greenhouses in the United States. The gardens in this 13,000 square foot structure produced fresh fruit, vegetables, and flowers year-round for Mary Thompson at Sonnenberg, as well as her New York City home.
You said you're thirsty, right?
This is one massive jade plant. Almost as tall as me. This is something that's very cool that I've never seen before. This kind of cactus. It's bloom.
The greenhouse had a very neat collection of succulents and cacti.
Look at this crazy guy. Just read that the greenhouse is the oldest wooden framed greenhouse in the Northeast, and I think also the oldest in America that's not been modified. The sad thing is there was a heavy hailstorm not too long ago that damaged a lot of the glass panes, so they're working on replacing those.
International garden styles became popular around the turn of the 20th century. In 1906, Mary Thompson had the Japanese garden, with its detailed landscape, created by a New York City artist, and today it's recognized as the first residential Japanese garden in America.
I love the water lilies. They're so pretty. And did you see the little dragonfly? this is pretty crazy. The original owners had this Roman bath. There's little rooms all along the edges where their guests could change and go to the bathroom. And then in the pool, the water was actually pumped from miles away from the lake. And there's an adjoining boiler room. The water was heated. So it was like a perfect place to come swim and relax.
Enclosed by a circle of hedges is the Sub Rosa Garden, otherwise known as the Secret Garden. This garden was one of the small garden rooms where the family frequently had tea during the summer. The focus of this garden is the contrasting white marble against green foliage.
Well, at least Steve's not thirsty anymore.
The blue and white garden was one of my favorites, a garden room of only blue and white blossoms off the northwest corner of the mansion veranda. It was also said to have been Mary Thompson's favorite garden.
I've been admiring the flowers. Steve has found his favorite spot. It's a nice view, huh?
It's a beautiful day outside.
The Sonnenberg Mansion was designed and completed between 1886 and 1887 by Boston architect Francis Allen. The 40-room Queen Anne Victorian-style mansion has an exterior construction of rusticated limestone with red Medina sandstone trim.
All right, now we're going to take a look inside.
The interior space was designed with balconies, arches, leaded pane glass, and beamed ceilings. There are 3 floors, 2 of which are open to the public. I found it fascinating to wander around the home looking at all the decor and artifacts, imagining what life was like here for the owners and their guests.
Billiards room.
An interesting fact, Mary Thompson was intending to sail on the Titanic, but canceled her passage at the last minute to attend a flower show. This decision probably saved her life and the lives of the people who were traveling with her. After Mary Thompson's death in 1923, the property passed into the hands of her oldest nephew, who sold the property less than 10 years later to the federal government, which in turn built a VA hospital complex on most of the farm acreage surrounding the formal mansion and garden estate. Although patients and staff tried to maintain the gardens, 40 years of neglect and vandalism took its toll. In 1966, a local citizens movement began to purchase, preserve, and restore a 50-acre portion of the original estate and gardens, including the mansion and greenhouse complex. In 1972, a formal bill transferring the estate from the VA to Sonnenberg Gardens, a not-for-profit organization, was passed and signed into law. We appreciate that this beautiful, historic spot has been preserved for the world to enjoy, an interesting glimpse of how things used to be. We were so glad we took the time to stop here and step back in time for a few hours. Our last stop before leaving this beautiful place was also the last garden designed at Sonnenberg Gardens by Mary Thompson. The Victorian rockery was constructed from 1915 to 1920. This 5-acre garden was probably the favorite for both of us, with a winding path through the woods leading to a limestone grotto that felt just a little bit like we'd stepped into a fairy tale.
We're in the rock garden now, and I think it might be my favorite part of the whole property. Got a little bit of a magical feel to it. Check out this tree root growing on this stone staircase. So Steve is probably not surprised, but there was way more here that was interesting than I anticipated. We spent a lot more time than I thought we would. Steve knew.
Steve did.
I would say that was definitely worth the $32 that we didn't have to pay. Look inside on this side. Over here.
1.21 gigawatts. That's cool.
Well, we're back out in the van. We just had a little bit of lunch, and now we're working on our video that we need to get loaded today. We're doing a little bit of editing here, then we need to go find the library and get that thing loaded. With Steve rested up, we set out to see what was happening at Harborfest. It's pretty nice during an event like this to be able to park your van and come and go throughout the day as you wish. It's pretty nice during an event like this to be able to park your van and come and go throughout the day as you wish.
We need to get a little bit of work done, so we went to the closest library here in town. We're at the Wood Library, and this is pretty cool. Just outside the front door there's a little free farm stand, and looks like they give away different things.
Kudos to the town of Canandaigua. Look, there's actually stuff in here. There are some green onions, or scaling something, some squash, a plant. That's cool.
That is something definitely unique. We haven't come across this before. Alrighty, well, we were able to upload our video in record time. I think we were in and out of the library in less than an hour. So it was nice not to put a marathon session in.
I really enjoyed our time in Canandaigua. I think it's a beautiful little town. It's nice that it's right on the lake. There's some beautiful old houses, a really nice little main street, and then I really enjoyed the gardens and the mansion. Like I said before, I was not expecting to spend so much time there, and then there was just a lot to look at, a lot of interesting things in the house. Kind of crazy for one family, just a couple with no children, how many rooms and bathrooms there were in the house. And we were talking, and we're actually surprised that they chose to build there with all the money they had, that they didn't build on the lake. But it was still really pretty, and I'm glad we checked it out. And now we're going to continue making our way to Ithaca, and this is where we're going to leave you for this episode.
Before we go, I did notice there was a lot of painters at the Sonnenberg mansion, and it got me to thinking, is it possible to photobomb someone's painting?
In a quarter mile, turn left onto the
It's funny that you say that, because as I was recording sometimes, I actually stood in front of some of the painters, and obviously I'm not really bothering their painting, but it is funny that you say that, because I did think that a few times. There were a lot of painters out, really. They were in the gardens painting, all over the place.
Anyway, thanks for tagging along. We appreciate you watching.
New York 14 North.
Appreciate all the support. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, the like button, leave a comment. We love hearing from you.
And we will see you next time.
See ya.